So welcome all to the EGG. It's my first experience actually in this building. Welcome also to the FI-PPP first European Conference on the Future Internet. My name is Ilkka Lakaniemi. I'm currently the chairman of the FI-PPP, the Public-Private Partnership, and I will be also chairing the first session today. And I will be giving an opening address first, and then we'll go into the session after a video from Commissioner Cruz. I learned today that this building used to be a machinery factory. So they were actually making tools here for various machinery that Brussels and Belgium used to be famous for a number of years, about 100 years ago or so. And I think it's a very perfect location for our talks today. When you think about the future of the internet, people refer to that as the third industrial revolution. They refer to software as the tools for the future businesses, as we all know since we work in the field. So basically, we are in a very apt environment for that type of a revolution to happen and be part of that revolutionary movement around the internet, around the future internet as we currently understand it. So in my opening presentation, I will be primarily focusing on the impact of FI-PPP, and now I'm not only talking about the potential impact of an EU program, I'm talking about the concrete outcomes that we have created so far, how we are able to offer those outcomes to even wider group of companies and wider group of web developers, to wider group of users in Europe and outside of Europe to that extent as well. And what is the standing point? Where do we start? How we came into this current situation and what are the plans for the future? And together with me in the first session, we actually have people that are much more knowledgeable on the technology side and the industry side, so understanding the business expectations for FI-PPP and also what is the technology behind FI-PPP as such. And you will get very good detailed information, what there is on offer, how you can get it, and how, for instance, for example, you could utilize it for your own purposes in the coming months and years. Obviously, when you came in, you saw that there were a lot of stands and booths, and within those you will see all the projects within FI-PPP that are currently utilizing already the enablers that have been generated through the program, and they're using it for very targeted segmented industry areas as such, and can give you further not only technology information, but also an understanding how a specific vertical is seeing the FI-PPP outcome and is utilizing that for various purposes. So what we are doing here is exactly what it says there on the slide. We are the enablers. We are enabling future growth for businesses, but also on the macro side for the EU member states. So the impact that was from the start part of the FI-PPP to generate growth, to generate new businesses, to generate new jobs, to generate new economic activity and innovation in Europe is something that has now taken place for a better part of 2 years. And now we are at the stage where we are able to launch all that to, like I said, to a wider audience in Europe. So I'll go to the next slide and hopefully it works. Here we go. I'm not an engineer by training, so as an economist and as an historian, sometimes I'm a very conservative user of different technologies. That doesn't make me any different to most of the business leaders in Europe as well. What you see in front of you is actually a very recent study that was done by the Finnish Economic Research Institute, together with Oxford University and with some other universities in Europe. And what they did was that they actually went beyond the regular studies that you have about the use of the internet or the use of different technologies. And what that beyond meant in their methodology was that they didn't look in just to the numbers of computers that are being used in companies. They didn't look to the, say, kind of an old-fashioned criteria, thinking how many ICT-skilled people there are in the workforce and so forth. They actually looked into indicators that would count how useful those technologies are for businesses, how the companies are best able to take the most benefit out of the different technologies, and especially in this case, future internet or internet-related technologies. And what came out of that, I think it's a very good, very optimistic picture for Europe. Because we have seen a number of studies, I think we're all familiar with studies that say that Europe is running behind United States, we're running behind Asia. Innovation is not here in Europe anymore. And we can say that's only half the story. There are all sizes of companies, ranging from large enterprises to small and medium-sized enterprises in Europe that are apt to utilize, to make the most out of the ICT, the technology investments that they have made, so that it truly infiltrates their everyday business operations, the way how they run their businesses, how they interact with their customers, how they innovate their products. We don't hear that much of that type of a story. We hear mostly about the negatives. And what I would like to do today is to bring you a more optimistic picture as well, that we truly are not the laggards of actually utilizing the internet or other internet-related technologies. There is a great variance between the countries. The optimal number here is 100, so we're still running behind that optimal number, even in countries that are scoring the highest in this study. So 73 out of 100 is not really that perfect, but it's getting close there. And the idea is that the further we are able to track and measure the impact of future internet technologies, products, services, hybrids, whatever you want to call them, the better we are able to also to capture the evidence, we're able to tell the story about the internet revolution. And that revolution doesn't only occur in the industrial realm, but in services in different parts of Europe and different countries of Europe as well. I'm happy to debate later on today also about and tell you more about the methodology and the different stories that are behind of this study, but it gives you a good idea that we are indeed in a very good current status to start with the FI-PPP exploitation. There are companies that are attracted to the FI-PPP, that are knowledgeable about the internet technologies, that are waiting actually to get into the program, but are also a bit worried about the red tape and the bureaucracy and all that type of things that are involved traditionally in big programs such as this. But in this case, what I can say that throughout today and tomorrow you'll be hearing that how FI-PPP is different to the traditional EU programs in the field of R&D. We are not basically an R&D program. We are a business-oriented program, and we are now making a product that we are launching there into the market. And you will be hearing more of that in the phase 3 speech of today. Then when you talk more about the numbers, why we are here, what is the larger community of the FI-PPP, you can see from here that it is well represented throughout different countries. It's well represented throughout different verticals, as you can see there also in demos. There is a lot of money. That's not always the thing where to start. If you pour a lot of money into something, it doesn't guarantee success. But in this case, having the available resources with a carefully planned strategy how to utilize those resources in a smart way has been the priority for the program. And that's what it will be continuing to do in the phase 3. The last number that you can see in there, the 100 million, what it says 100 million for the entrepreneurs, is actually one of the key messages that you should remember from this event. It basically means that we are now at the stage where the technology is ready, where we are finalizing the business offering for the SMEs to come to us and start using that technology for their own business innovation, whether for their internal business organizations or creating new products and new services for the external markets. So in that yellow picture, when you look at the years in the bottom, in 2014, it is indeed the time of the SME innovation, phase 3, or call 3, as it says there in the picture. So, to put it in a summary, I said that we are part of a larger community, part of a larger program where a lot of things has already happened. And most of that, what has happened in the past 2 years, is something that has not been that visible. It has happened in laboratories. There have been hundreds and thousands of people working for FI-PPP, creating the products, creating the technologies, creating examples of those services that are enabled by future internet technologies. And now we are ready to come on stage. We're ready to show what we know, what we can do, and we can give you examples what it is that you can start utilizing that technology for. And the key points, if you remember from my presentation, it is exactly that we are creating a new, smart, and open innovation environment in Europe. This is for the first time. I have an industry background. I worked at the ICT industry for 12 years. And throughout that time, I was always a bit hesitant about big programs of this kind, thinking about that, what is the value for business? Now I can say that the value exists. The value is there. We just have to be smart enough to start utilizing it for the right purposes. So it is based on unique European assets. Those assets are something that are unique in comparison to the Asian companies or the Asian innovation or the US-based innovation of that kind. We do have comparative advantage there. And we are reducing the barriers. So we are actually eradicating those myths that people have about large programs of this kind. They say that it's too cumbersome. It takes too much time for management. It takes too much time for red tape, all of that. We're taking all that away. We are creating a new system in phase 3 that makes it easy for small and medium-sized enterprises, and to that matter also larger enterprises, to start utilizing the technologies created at the FI-PPP. And it's not a small thing. It's basically the key thing that truly makes sense to the European businesses. And it will be the format also for the future programs of this kind when you think of the Horizon 2020. A week ago, I met with a large group of leading Finnish ICT companies. There are still some, despite what happened to Nokia. And those companies are mainly in the realm of business-to-business operations, either making lifts, like Kone, for instance, that makes elevators for different purposes, or other type of ICT-related companies that are utilizing the internet for a variety of hybrid product services type of offerings. And what they see here at the FI-PPP, what they told me in that meeting a week ago, is that if we indeed are able to take what we have created and make European SMEs smarter, then these large companies are willing to get back to Europe some of that industrial production capacity, that R&D capacity, that innovation capacity that have been offshored in the past 10 years. If we make the SMEs smarter, the large companies will start creating a new ICT ecosystem, ICT-enabled ecosystem in Europe as well. Now I exceeded my time. There is a very nice red clock here that says that I should stop here. After me, there is a video address by Commissioner Kroes, and after that, we'll continue with the speakers of the first session.